Hi guys, this is about to be the Destiny 2 Heresy Act 2 stream starting soon. That's what it's about to be. No, that's what it is right now. It is about to... Oh, it changed. We're going to be reacting to it, but from the perspective of a Destiny player that's only been playing the game for a month. Should be an interesting time. Let's see what they've got. Let's see what they've got queued up for us.
Guardians, hello. It's good to see y'all again. Welcome back to Bungie HQ here in Bellevue, Washington, where we come to you from a crisp, cold morning to share a little bit of what's to come with Heresy Act 2, and just for fun, a little bit of a sneak peek to what's to come with Act 3 as well.
Hell yeah.
My name's Andy. I work on the social media team here, and worry not, we've got, as usual, an amazing cast of guests to go ahead and walk through some of the finer details of what you're going to be seeing today. So
crispy.
As always, there's no time like the present. Let's go ahead and dive on in and get them introduced so we can go ahead and show you what we got in store.
Dude, are these plushy engrams?
Sitting to my left, up
so
first,
cute.
is someone who, if you joined us last time, is someone that you may have already known, rather. Sorry, I'm going to go ahead and just make sure we get right into your intro. Someone that you may already know, narrative architect here at Bungie, the one and only Mr. Nico Stevens. Nico, how's it going today, man?
It's going great. Thanks for having me, Andy. How are you doing?
I'm doing so well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh,
so for anyone that
so
maybe didn't
polite,
join us
so
last
wholesome.
time or isn't aware of what a narrative architect does, can you tell us just a little bit about who
A
you are and what you do
narrative
here?
architect.
Sure. So like I said, my name's Nico Stevens. I'm narrative architect at Bungie. I've been here since Season of Dawn, and basically I contribute to all of the stories that people play through, whether it's text, lore, gun names.
Okay.
Building out the actual beats of the story, and as the architect, more recently, what I've been doing is kind of putting together the player journey, as we call it, that the player experiences as they go through the beats of like a main campaign.
Yeah. So you're tugging our heartstrings months in advance at times.
Oh.
Excellent. Well, thank you. It's been a lot of heartstring tugging so far this episode. Sitting next to him, we have a new face joining us today, a senior designer here at Bungie, Quentin Quinones-Rezin. Quentin, how's it going, man?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me here on the couch.
Absolutely. Thanks for taking the time to join us. This is your first time joining us, so really quickly, second verse, same as the first. For anyone that doesn't know you or doesn't get the privilege of working with you here at Bungie, can you tell us just a little bit about who you are and what you do here?
Sure, yeah. I am an activity designer. I've been with Bungie since the Beyond Light expansion. And I've worked on,
Beyond Light,
for
chat?
example,
A
the
year ago?
Altars of Summoning activity in Season of the Witch, and the Breach executable from
2020.
Episode
Oh.
X.
Very exciting. And of course, some more stuff we'll be diving into here just very shortly.
5 years ago.
And then, of course, sitting just next to him, a man that is a friend to all Guardian kind and needs no introduction. So we're not going to give him one. Let's go into the show.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. Sitting next to him is, of course, the incomparable one and only Mr. Dylan Gaffner, Global Community Lead here at Bungie. Dylan, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Thank you for your.
I thought he was going to say the incompetent.
I'm very much looking forward to it.
Instead of incomparable.
So for anyone that may not
This is
have,
my first time
worked with
seeing
you or your
DMG.
team in the wild world of social media, or is just somehow meeting you for the first time, can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do here?
Yeah, so Dylan Gaffner, DMG04, as many know, Breadmaster,
Yes.
the guy that says we're listening. Yeah, ultimately, I'm a community lead here for Destiny, top of the team, where we run all the TWIDs, we make sure Guardians are informed, we take your feedback, pass it along to the
This
dev team.
man is
But most importantly, we try to act as like
essential.
the seat at the table for players. So if there's feedback, if there's
Essential
conversation
to
around
all
something,
Bungie
or,
operations.
Oh, hey, excitement around activities. we
All
make sure
hail
that
and God
voice is
bless
heard
this
in
man.
the meetings that we go to.
Excellent. Well, thank you, as always, for being a voice of the player here in our hallowed halls.
Yes.
We appreciate it.
Yes.
And in addition
Massively.
to these fine folks, we're also going to have some other folks joining us throughout the show. It's a pretty jam-packed one, so we'll make sure to introduce them as they come along. But worry not, that's just not me summoning them into existence. We have a ton of folks here to show you what's in store. So
Hell yeah.
let's go ahead and kick things off. Nico, I'd love to go ahead and start with you. Obviously, we're going to go ahead and be concluding Act 1 of episode Heresy here very briefly and leading into Act 2. Before we kick off Act 2, can you just tell us a little bit about what got us here today?
Dude, I feel like Act 1 only just began.
As people who've been playing know, we had an
haven't
echo
even
that came from the Pale Heart.
made it into the Nether
Screaming out
yet.
from the death of the Witness,
Wait.
sliding into the Dreadnought.
Oh, wait, is this going to be
This
spoilers?
Revivified.
I guess it is going to be spoilers, right? This is like story stuff that I haven't played yet. Should I not be listening right now? Oh, no. I thought they were going to be like, and here's a new subclass. Oh, God. Should we listen or no?
Who has taken something from us.
We'll just get like little inserts here.
Sorry. Are we going to be seeing more of Eris's story as we dive into Act 2?
Yeah, so
Yeah, so we're in Act 2, we're going to be really actually turning Eris into a sort of broken mirror, reflections of Eris. You're going to see her in her early life. You're going to see her in her old age. You're going to see almost like a what-if Marvel version of Eris. That's what's planned for Act 2. And then we're going to go through a portal. We're going to kill all the Erises, and there's going to be one Eris remaining. And that's when we will finally marry Eris canonically and live happily ever after.
Her wake up in this ascendant world, very much resembling a throne world.
And she will wake up in an ascendant world with you as her spouse.
Out there, maybe you can help us out and kind of tell us a little bit more about what's to come. Excellent. So that sets the stage.
Sets the stage. Yeah.
We're also going to go ahead and dive into an activity here. We've got some gameplay ready to show on screen.
Hell yeah.
Quentin, we've got a new activity that we're going to go ahead and release with Act 2. Can you tell us a little bit about what the Court of Blades is?
Sure. Yeah, Court of Blades. When we were talking about bringing back the Dreadnought, obviously we're going to pay some sort of homage to the fan favorite activity, the Court of Oryx, that occurred in this space.
Yeah.
But we wanted to freshen it up. We wanted to explore.
Don't know what that is.
What does Destiny look like right now?
Was that fun, chat? Did we like that?
Taking that and adding to that a lot of the
that's like
activities recently have been
bush.
sort of longer form, maybe a little stressful.
It was a D1
We
activity.
wanted to create a shorter, quicker activity that folks can just come and slay out for 10 minutes and have fun.
Oh, cool.
So, as we go ahead and check out the Court of Blades, there's a lot of new augments available to players too, actually. If we can really quickly look, there's some hive statues around. Can you tell us about the augments that players are going to have available to them as they go ahead and try and build their loadout for this activity?
Sure, yeah. What we wanted to do was wanted to take some inspiration from the sort of roguelike things that we've been exploring over the last couple of years with Destiny.
Cool.
Making sure that each run feels unique and challenging in its own way. And so what we've borrowed the concept of augmentations from Onslaught.
From Call of Duty Zombies?
See those, and they're a little different in this case where they provide challenges that players may be able to overcome in other ways. So they're simple mechanically. A single player could go and complete the augmentation, but you might be able to just DPS the boss, pop your super, that sort of a thing, as a way to overcome that challenge. In addition, we've got sort of a randomized set of armaments that players will be able to purchase between phases.
Dude, this sounds cool as hell. What?
To combat those challenges a little bit.
Dude, it's literally
a unleash our fire team
mini roguelike
and sort of explore what this has to have or has
Destiny.
To offer.
That sounds
in addition
sick.
to the elements, there's also going to be some hazards that the Guardians are going to be going up against as well. It's not all going to be just fun and games and building your powerful loadout.
Dude,
like
this sounds so cool. Has there been a thing like this before?
What's it going to be like building, your loadouts as you go into this? Are you going to be able to just set one up for the week and move along, or?
For the week?
So the way this is going to work, the augmentations, the challenges that get applied, start to stack the more that you play the activity. And so you might get a really good combination that's very easy for you to blow through. Sometimes you're going to get a really bad combination of a certain boss or a certain augmentation that don't work well together.
Dude, this sounds so
cool. We wanted players
cool.
to have some opportunities to maybe shortcut those, or maybe combine a couple of the armaments that they can purchase and find a really cool combo. And so the armaments will actually rotate on a daily basis with the hope that there'll be sort of a meta that generates each day.
Dude, this sounds sick. Wait, what?
It was like, ooh.
I know.
What we got? What we got?
I had the same reaction, actually. So these arenas are going to take place, obviously, across the system. Nico, can you tell us about the eagle-eyed folks in chat? Obviously, are kind of
that's
calling
what
out
the
where they believe that
statues
was.
are.
Can you go ahead and confirm to us where that arena was?
So the title of that area that you saw was Remnant of Silver, and that is on Io. It is in the cradle area where the Tree of Silver Wings was.
Yeah, look, so...
and as players know,
turrets appear in all
seen
future
Mars come back,
encounters.
we've seen Titan come back. We've heard of Mercury, even though we haven't gone back and revisited it yet. Io is really the only one that we haven't really talked about at all. And that's because Io is still trapped between worlds, and right now it is in the Ascendant Plane, fully enveloped by it.
Damage from
and
the
Oryx, through the Echo of or as the Echo of Navigation, I should say, is kind of reaching out to these places of paracausal power, reaching out to Io.
I'm just
for
like
this place of
trying not
darkness,
to
Hive
think
worship,
about
as you
what
see
he's saying
here.
about the story and just looking at the gameplay instead right now.
Massive connections to the darkness, obviously. And then one of the arenas that you haven't seen yet is on Europa, which is the first place that we.
So the
encountered
swarm
stasis,
augmentation is on the
control,
left here.
and it is a
And you have
huge
to
font of dark energy.
take out these
I can
this
see why they would
45.
want to, why Oryx would connect with those places certainly, but no, it's really exciting to get to go back to Io. I think obviously.
And then there's
Chad had the
also
same
this
reaction,
timer?
That I had when it was like.
So the swarm augmentation is a separate
I've been there.
objective.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's been a while, hasn't it? Yeah.
So when we're going through these arenas, like you were talking about the challenges.
Bro, the
and
wall there looks like the inside of the
with the Court of Blades.
friggin'
Are we going to
Apothicon.
see similar mechanics to Nether, like the health scaling or things like that, or how's it different?
We will not be seeing the health scaling and health mechanics from the Nether, so that's a bit of a load off people's minds. This is intended to be a bit more of a less stressful, more fun activity, but the difficulty does escalate after every 2 challengers. And so what we want to do, we've created these sort of light mechanics. You know, what you're not going to see is true raid level experience. This is not a replacement for Pantheon, that sort of a thing. We want it to be match made. We want it to be go in and have fun. The mechanics that you can buy as armaments sometimes will provide antidotes or shortcuts to the mechanics that you're seeing as augmentations. Some of them you may recognize from the Nether.
And Pantheon
some
is
of
like a
them are
boss
gonna be
rush,
brand
right?
new. And a few of them are actually going to be things that we've taken from some favorite old exotics, such as
Taken, as we see on the screen.
Sure.
Sorry. Go
How
ahead.
dare you.
It's a boss rush.
Such
Okay.
as we've taken the effect from Sunbracers off, and that is a thing that you can actually purchase within this this activity using the currency. Maybe combine that with something that increases ability regeneration, or maybe you see a couple of arc flavored armaments, and you decide on this run I'm going to use those.
I think this sounds sick.
So it's about mixing and matching and
What can I
finding
say?
what works on a
Yeah, a
particular
lot of chances
run.
to really exemplify your build. So also there's, in addition to kind of the standard run through that we're seeing right here, is there a higher difficulty mode available as well?
Sure, yeah. For people who like
Hell
a little
yeah.
bit more of a challenge, we're going to have an expert version of the activity. Both will actually be a really good place to find the Act 2 weapons that will drop more often in both versions of the activity.
Nice.
But the adept versions will only drop in the expert mode.
Got it. Okay, so good reason to go ahead and make sure you got your build all tightened up. You're focusing on those augmentations and just, really go ahead and try and slay out, I think, honestly. I'm just going to steal your phrasing there because I can't think of anything better.
This sounds so
To
cool.
that
That
end
sounds
as well,
great to
Nico,
me.
we're going up against, you were mentioning at the end of Act 1, Zivu and Savathun were none too happy with Oryx's answer and demeanor towards us.
Is
who are we
expert
going up against as we go ahead
As a
and fly
difficulty,
through this
is that
activity?
below Master? Or is
little
that
bit of a
above
refresher,
Master?
Final, the finale, we walked in. We saw
Or is
the Echo
there even a
Navigation,
Master? Or is there a
and this is where
Grandmaster?
Oryx learns that we
It's
killed
below.
him.
Okay, so it's
King.
Expert, Master, Grandmaster.
And his
Is that right?
response is, you killed me? Very cool.
Yeah.
I'm super into that.
How refreshing. I was like, whew, finally one less hive
Yes,
to be mad
okay.
at,
Yes,
right?
exactly. So what Oryx is kind of doing here is he wants you to be his guy.
I guess
he
my
wants you to
only
take up that
worry
mantle of Taken King,
is,
and he's testing
like,
you. This is him
is it
testing his knife.
gonna
right?
be
Making
too
sure it's
easy?
as sharp as it's supposed to be. And while he's
'Cause, like,
doing
slaying
that,
out will be
to
really
prove
fun,
that you are
but
the Taken King.
if there's, like, no
Zivu
challenge,
is here saying, no,
then yeah,
I
that
want
might
my
be a
brother
bit
back.
meh.
Yeah.
Because like right
Let me
now
give you
it looks
another
like
champion. She's
what
presenting
they're
her
playing
own
looks
hive
very
champions,
easy,
trying to say,
right?
let this be a vessel for you.
Yeah.
But I guess they're not
Much
playing on
like we
Expert,
saw in Pit
so-
of Heresy, it's a similar idea to that. And then Savathun on the other end of the
Again, I'm
spectrum
just
there is
ignoring
saying,
what he's
this
saying
is
right now.
stupid.
On normal, it'll
we
be
should
too easy
all
for
just
sure.
move on from this chain to the sword logic that we have.
It'll
Stop
scale
being
past
shackled
Expert,
to
it'll
these
just
old
start on
ideas.
Expert.
Yeah.
We can all be free.
That sounds
Oh, he
kind of
did say
heretical.
every like
It
2
does
challenges
sound
or
a
something
little
it would get
heretical,
harder.
a
That's
little
true.
bit, yes.
I mean, we have to give a shout out. So Oryx has been kind of whispering in my ear.
Maybe we're just sort of
through
seeing,
Nether
like,
and through the
round
activities of
one
Act
here,
I'm
so to
assuming
speak.
we'll see more. Of course, we've hidden the VO, we've hidden the subtitles and stuff to avoid spoilers.
Because we're not seeing many
I wanted to give a shout out to the voice
augments
actor.
right
yeah,
now.
So the voice actor for Oryx is
voice
Joshua
actor.
David King. They did a fantastic job every single time we were in the recording booth. All the narrative designers, our voice director, everybody was just losing their mind over the performance. It was fantastic. And I mean, you get to see it in the game.
That's so
It's
cool
amazing.
to
Yeah,
shout
it's
out.
always wonderful seeing like Morla coming in, bringing Eris to life, and then in this case, Oryx is alive,
Yeah.
and this is the first time that we're having kind of a relationship with.
Yeah,
the
really
Taken
cool
King.
to shout out the
It
voice
was a
actors
big
in that
deal
way.
for us because we wanted to make sure that we did that character justice, and they didn't really have Oryx as a character didn't
Dude,
really
the
have
room
a,
looks
you
so
know,
cool as well, all the,
suite
like,
of voice
pipes and
acting
stuff.
before. So we wanted to make sure that it felt true to what Oryx
like
was
the
back in the
intestine
Taken
of the
King,
ship.
as well as now with the Echo Navigation.
Evolving from just grunts of like, "Rawr, take
Exactly.
it," and now it's like, yo, sword logic, you killed me, you're cool.
A lot more verbose now.
Yeah.
Oryx has been really reading the thesaurus recently and making sure that he's got his vocabulary all up to snuff. Actually, as well, really quickly, Quentin, I'd love to go ahead and check with you as well. There's new. I think we were talking about the shaping slab earlier as well before the show. What sort of additional enhancements are available there?
Sure, yeah. As people will have seen in Act 1, there's a set of upgrades that they can purchase and slot in based on how far they have ranked the vendor.
Wait, what is he talking about?
That are specific to
the
the Nether
artifact?
and the requirements of that, providing
Well,
a free revive token, things like that.
Oh, I haven't seen that
Court
in the
is going to
game
get
yet.
a whole new set specifically for it, as well as some permanent upgrades to help players
Seasonal
deal
vendor?
with the
I haven't seen
heavy
it
and
yet.
increasing
Okay,
challenge as they get deeper and deeper and try and up that score of how many challengers they can take down in a single run.
Chances for our creators to make some guides. Maybe Abontis can help us out this time around. We probably got something in store there. But we now actually would love to take a moment to introduce another new face
Dude,
to
shouting
our
out creators
for the very
in
first
the-
time to help kind of talk us
in the
through
stream.
some of the weapons that are going to
Call
be
of Duty
available
could
to you as
never.
we go ahead and kick off Act 2
What
of
the
Heresy.
hell, dude?
We are now joined by the one and only associate designer here at, probably the one and only Morgan Dickens, associate designer here at Bungie. Morgan, how's it going today?
It's going well, thank you.
Absolutely. So for anyone that doesn't get the chance to work with you at Bungie or is unfamiliar with your work, can you tell us just a little bit about who you are and what
Has she
you do
been
here?
been on the stream before?
Absolutely. So I'm Morgan. I'm a weapons designer here at Bungie. I work on the origin traits and perks and just the general gameplay for the weapons. I did the Act 3 weapons and the Telesto update, if that tells you anything about me.
That's true. So obviously we have Morgan to blame/thank, depending on what side of Telesto you're on for the new casual.
Don't know what that means, but-
Telesto's broken on me. When I was like, what do you mean broken? And then it's, oh, you mean like good broken.
You're right, yeah.
So
As
good
we-
job, community loves it. Thanks, chat, for shouting out.
Yeah, as we all collectively wiped our brow and we're like, okay, cool.
Telesto's broken and
Morgan hands us another win. So speaking of, we're going to have some new weapons. The folks in chat have obviously seen let's tell you about, let's go ahead and start with what's here on screen. The glaive that we're looking at right now. We're going to have some new weapons joining, but can you tell us a little bit about the glaive we're looking at?
Do they
right now?
do
absolutely.
new weapons every...
So this glaive is Refusal of the Call. It is our second kinetic slot glaive
Act?
that we have ever done, and our first strand glaive.
Excited. So this one, as someone who's been humbled by glaives more often than I care to admit in the Crucible recently,
okay.
what are some roles we should be looking forward to with this one?
Yeah, so as displayed on screen, Sword Logic Discord is a very fun role with good ammo efficiency and really high damage potential. And if you're looking for a fun Crucible role, tilting at windmills and melee momentum is really fun.
Okay, that's one I'm going to
That's a good name for a perk. Tilting at windmills in Crucible.
Yeah.
Tilting your opponents.
Why do you stare right at me when you say that?
I don't know. But I do want to make another call out. So in Act 1, we were talking about, when you're going to the Dreadnought, it's peeling back, the skin is coming off. When we were just looking at this glaive, they all follow that same theme. So right now, you have a big sword on a big stick that's covered in teeth. Like, I cannot, this is my #1 thing when Act 2 goes live to go and grind for me. So.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that. And,
Does look very cool.
I couldn't help but notice, obviously, there's a very, very scary looking new Void Bow as well that our Guardian
I love the
here
glow
been
it has
using.
as well.
Can you tell us a little bit about this bad boy?
Ooh, a bow.
Absolutely. So Anamnesis is a void lightweight frame bow. This one's really cool
Anamnesis.
because the origin trait
That thing looks
grants
sick.
charge speed. So dealing damage to enemies and getting final blows will slowly just lower that charge time. If you're a bow lover and you have always wanted to take
Sammy.
something other than Archer's Tempo in the left column,
Yeah.
now's your chance.
Yeah, fair. I have my vault is littered with Archer's Tempo in that first column, so no, I'm really looking forward to that one.
man, that
what are
thing could be
roles? I think we've
crazy.
got some repulsor brace action going on, but what are some roles we can look forward to here?
Yeah, you can pair Repulsor Brace with either Destabilizing Rounds or Demoralize. And
Dude,
if you
I
wanna
love that
take,
they're just, like-
advantage of that Origin trait reducing
They're not
charge time, you can
babying
throw
it at
successful
all.
warm-up and impulse amplifier on it.
They're
and
just being
have
like, yeah, you
one of
could
the
run
fastest firing
with
bows in the
tilt
game.
windmills
Yeah,
with
honestly, even
the
having just gotten
balancing
that
brace
rolling
on the
voltage
lightweight
with, like,
frame.
the other
And
weekend on trials, like I cannot.
I'm
wait
here
to
like,
go ahead
I don't
and take
understand
that
what's
first
happening, but that's
bow.
good.
The timing is impeccable too. Like last week on I think
Again,
Reddit,
the
there
Call of
was
Duty
about,
equivalent of this
legendary
is
bows,
so
I don't use them very
babied.
often,
It's-
etc. But folks were going into the Nightfall with Monarch. the
Yeah.
Monarch. And I'm like, oh, here's a new Void Bow that goes with the artifact
Yeah.
that has all these cool perks. Maybe you'll have a new thing to use in Nightfalls when the sidearm comes around next week. Chat, yes, the sidearm is next week. Don't worry. But yeah.
It's awesome. And so, in addition to those, so obviously Dylan mentioned there's a sidearm. What is the other? I think there's two more that we haven't covered yet.
Yeah, so there's a sidearm, a submachine gun, and a fusion rifle.
Exciting.
The sidearm is one of our first heavy burst sidearms in a bit, and it's got bolt shot on it, which, given how quick sidearms reload, is pretty fun.
Yeah.
Did she say
And you can also
heavy
get sword logic
burst?
on it as well.
Yeah.
It's always a fun option.
Yeah. Seriously, I
When
can't
you
wait.
say heavy burst sidearm, is that a 2-shot?
2-shot.
Got it.
Oh, like the Mahis.
It's going to be powerful. Again, I can already hear it ringing out, I'm sure, in my trials matches. But we also have, there's a new fusion rifle. Oh, here, actually, we got the sidearm up on screen.
Ooh,
Let's hang
look
out here
at
for
the
a second and just take a
design,
look.
dude. Yummy.
That art style is just so good. I can't.
I
get over it.
love how
Yeah,
they
the
look.
design is really cool, and the glow actually gets a little bit brighter as you stack up the Origin trait, which is
Oh,
fun.
hell
That's super
yeah.
cool, actually. In addition to that, I know we were talking a little bit before the show as well. There's a new fusion rifle in store that sounds pretty terrifying if you're going up against us. Can you tell us a little
Look
bit
at that thing.
about what's in front of us right now?
Yeah, so Afterlight is another weapon that really benefits from that charge rate boost. And it's got a couple of fun options for DPS with that. If you're willing to put in a lot of work, Ambitious Assassin Reservoir Burst with that Origin trait will stack up in a couple shots and will do really, really high DPS until you lose Reservoir Burst.
Of course. Yeah.
What is
And if you're looking
Reservoir
for something
Blast?
simpler, you can always do Lead from Gold and Vorpal Weapon.
True. Yeah.
This version of the weapon is one of the heretical arsenal versions. Too. So if you're going into the expert difficulty of court, you can get some of these to drop as you're playing with your friends. It has the 2 perks in each column, and then it has the extra Origin trait from King's Fall.
Oh, yeah, it's got 2 perks in
narratively
all the
tied
columns.
in. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sandbox team, for the cool stuff.
As
Thank you,
always.
Sandbox team, for the cool stuff.
Yeah.
It's a 25% boost.
But
if
then
you have
also
full
on top
mag.
of that, you have your Tome of War.
Ah.
So if you're just looking for roles, trying to get more of the sidearm, the fusion, etc., these will be additions. You go and you get your slabs from the chests or doing the activity,
Yeah.
and then you can use it in the court to get more drops, or you can actually go into Nether or go into Crucible or whatever and have
Yeah.
a couple of those extra drops come in too.
Very exciting, yeah. And it's like, I don't know, I was getting like mini Plan C vibes from that one. Like, I'm super excited to see how I can work that one in. So the sandbox is always obviously rather going to be enriched by some new legendary weapons, but our good friend,
My face cam's
the Barrow
blocking me.
Dyad, is going to have some new additions to their
You're right.
perks as well this
Sorry
time
about
around.
that. Thank you
For
for
anyone
that-
out
that
there
call out.
like myself who's gone ahead and added that to their loadouts recently, what are some of the updates we can expect there?
Yeah, so Bear Dyad is getting 2 new Catalyst perks in Act 2, with 2 more coming later.
Bear Dyad?
And some of the fun options there are 1 for all and target lock. Not many exotics have like damage perks on their Catalyst, but this one you can really alter your play style.
Yeah, I feel like Target Lock is
Barrow
also
Dyad?
made for that one. It's going to be super exciting to take that one out for a spin.
I'm gonna be
Oh,
excited
that's
to
the new
see what
exotic
Maiden
thing?
comes up with as a build
The like
video.
ring
Yeah,
thing?
absolutely. Big
like
shout out.
little
Maiden.
disc.
Thank you very much for all your build videos. Can't wait to see some more, obviously, along the way.
And sorry, it'll be 2
yeah.
Catalysts go live on Tuesday next week on the 11th, and then we have 2 more coming in Act 3.
Cool. Okay.
So-
So still more to unlock, but
Oh.
obviously Baradiad's potential is starting to really continue to build,
And
obviously.
if you haven't gotten it, that exotic quest, shout out to our activity designers. Like, I was blown away. And if
Yeah.
you have some problems with like kind of insects and holes and stuff, it's a little creepy. So be prepared.
Can be, and actually, okay, we're taking a look
I
at
look forward to
Baradiad here
doing
really
that. I haven't
quickly.
done that yet.
This
We'll
is
have to
one
do that on
where if the
stream
Guardians
sometime.
out there haven't had a chance to get their hands on it, as Dylan mentioned, the exotic quest is live right now, but
Yeah.
coming next week, we've got 2 more catalysts that'll be hitting. So looking forward to expand that. And actually, while we're here in menu, we'd be remiss if we didn't take a look at our friendly neighborhood artifact as well.
Yeah.
As has been the case with the Act, our artifacts have continued with another, or expanded, pardon me, with another row. Can you tell us a little bit about what we got? We only got 5, so I vote we go ahead and just
That's
dive in and
how
check
it
them all out.
works.
Yeah, absolutely. So the primary theme for this one is trace rifles with a secondary theme of like element matching. So
Ooh.
in the left column, you have Overload Trace Rifles as a new anti-champ option. And then we have a new trace rifle perk, Beam Medic,
Rapid
where
trace final blows heal you.
heal both you and nearby
Ooh.
allies. This is a fun thing to pair with the new Detonator Beam perk, which will help you get those multi-kills.
Yeah. Yeah, very looking forward to it. I'm just continuing, like I'm already imagining how I'm gonna get Microcosm back into my loadout. Honestly, already, like I cannot wait.
Well, I have good news for you. Skipping ahead to the fourth column perk, Harsh Refraction. Trace rifles do more damage to targets with
affected by
debuffs that match their
elemental
element type. And this is always on for
I was gonna
Microcosm.
say, all right, so Kinetic is gonna be a very happy camper in that case. Oh, I can't wait. Any others that we wanna look at before we go along? I know we have a little bit of extra time here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wait, does this mean
So
leaks were
for
wrong? Were there leaks for
Microcosm,
these?
If you want to just really double down on that,
And I do.
Limit Break is the fifth column perk, and it will get you
Casting a
increased super
super
damage
while
when you are either critically
wounded.
wounded and you cast it, or when you have an elemental buff that matches your super type.
And actually, while we're here, we may as well just take a look. What awaits us in the third column as well?
So the third column is a new artifact perk that will help you get more access to elemental pickups like tangles or fire sprites. Rapid final blows with a kinetic weapon or a weapon
Matching
that
your
matches your
equipped
equipped
to
super
create an elemental
will, grant you one of those.
Perfect.
And it can be boosted by the Tome of Want.
Very exciting. All right, so our trace rifles are really going to go ahead and get a lot of additional mileage here, it looks like, honestly.
I got to give a shout out to our icon artists too. So like Prometheus Lens is my favorite trace. Like laser tag weekend, some people just immediately melt and they're like, oh God. But that was a really fun
I was going to say, you were not one of those. Yeah.
Oh, I was so
Cool to
excited. We
see
had Urk at the time.
some other
reached
stuff
out and
getting
asked,
love,
"Can we
'cause there was a
put
lot of Void and
Prometheus
Arc
Lens
love
on Xur?"
before.
And I was like, why would you do that? Yes.
So cool to see Kinetic
But yeah, with
getting
these
a bit
perks,
of
I'm going to go out and burn down the
attention.
world with Prometheus Lens. Like Microcosm will pull out for the boss DPS, but just for like running through court, running through Nether, I'm going to be like, let's burn some stuff.
That's right, I'll have your back. I'll have the Microcosm, you take Prometheus Lens. It's going to be a terrible day to be Hyper taken for a
Sure.
little while.
Hit me up on Discord and then I'll ignore you for another week. And then
As
we'll play.
always. Well, that's right. That hurts still. Okay, it's right in front of all of our guardians. Okay, so while we're also checking out the artifact, we've got, we teased at the top of the show. We're gonna do some Act 3 teases as well. Can you give us a tease a little, or what the theme rather of what that last row is gonna be?
Yeah, so the primary theme is rockets. We have a new perk that will help you clear rockets without needing to reload or spend ammo. And then there's a secondary theme of Strand with a new way to access Woven Mail.
Okay, very exciting. I cannot wait to go ahead and just dust off my rocket launchers too. Honestly, I still have my Apex Predator sitting around, and that one's been waiting for
using
time to shine,
rockets
so I think this is
without
that
using
moment.
ammo? Is that
And
what she
outside of
said?
The artifact, there are going to be new things to play, right?
Yeah, we're going to have refreshes to the Nether and Court in terms of new bosses, new combatants.
Nice.
If you're familiar with the pressure events from Act 1.
If you're familiar with depression?
The blights you have to destroy, there's
Intimately.
new and devious versions of those that are coming.
Devious
to Nether.
depression?
And then in
God.
Act 3, our featured activity is going to be the return of the Sunless Cell Strike.
Right, yes.
Sunless
the Guardians
Cell
who remember
Strike.
their fond Destiny 1 days of having that like huge batch of thralls running at you up the bridge. Now's the chance to check that out. But actually, we were talking before the show, it's probably not going to be Alacool.
Yeah, Nico was mentioning, so Alacool was down in the deep, dark dungeon hole and then became a light hive, the Guardian Hive. What do we
Light
call
bears?
it? Yeah, well, it was
He's
light
the
bear and then it was
light
like
The Lucent Hive.
Tool is what you called it, and I cringed.
Tool.
Yeah,
it's
But,
creativity
It's a
to
D1
process
strike?
it.
So with
Okay.
the Lightblade Ascending being in the Throne World doing their own thing, who is in the Sunless Cell now? And that's something we'll find out in Act 3 in April.
Yeah,
So.
very exciting. We'll have a chance to check that out. And
Act
actually,
3 in
Dylan,
April.
while I've got you, I'd love to put you on the spot. In addition to obviously all this stuff that'll be arriving with Act 2,
So that's not
Guardian
that far
Games
away.
is going to be making its triumphant return as
Oh,
well.
Guardian Games is now, yeah.
So let me get my handy dandy notebook here. Replaced the big one with the little tiny one. It looks like I take notes now.
He's like he's a reporter out on the beat.
Yeah, so Guardian Games starts next week.
Yeah.
March 11th, right at Reset alongside Act 2.
Okay.
For folks that don't know what Guardian Games is, we invite our Hunters, Titans, and Warlocks to come in, battle it out, and see, well, who's best. We have a celebration in the tower. It's all decorated, and we'll have a ton more detail in the TWID on Thursday, so tune in for that.
Okay.
But I just have a couple teases of, we have a...
Please.
You put it best, bite-sized boss rush mode.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be like a court, it's not going to be like a Pantheon, but Now we have a challenge of, hey, go in, burn down some bosses, get as many points as you can, and then you can get some new rewards.
What is the
so when
boss
it comes
rush?
to rewards,
Yes.
we have some really cool armor.
Is that how
gonna
Guardian
be
games always
Everburst.
works, or-
You can earn it for free through Bright Dust. So go in and do your seasonal challenges, do your Pathfinders. There are going to be some weekly bounties that get Bright Dust.
I'm confused.
And
is this a
you
new
can see
thing?
that we're going with more of a gladiator theme, where previous it was
This
like,
is new.
let's go into
Oh.
sports, let's go into these things. Now it's like, hey, gladiators. You're going to go in, you're going to destroy these bosses, and it's going to be a really
Oh,
good
that
time.
sounds cool.
Yeah, I'm excited for that Hunter Cloak for sure. And
As
then our players are
gladiators?
gonna be
That sounds
getting
sick.
A specific class item to engage with the event as well.
That's right.
So,
Okay, yeah.
the Hunter is holding our new premier legendary weapon that's going to be coming out.
Right.
And now I pass it off to Morgan because there's some really cool perk rolls that you can get on there.
Yeah, absolutely. So we had the Arc Trace Rifle in Iron Banner, which has more of a PvP focus. This one has more of a PvE focus to go along with the, boss slaying theme.
Yep.
It's got some fun perks in the left column, including Overflow and Triple Tap and Eddy Current, if you just want to double down on the Arc perks. And it's got our new Detonator Beam and Jolting Feedback alongside Rolling Storm as well.
Okay, this one's going to be a lot of fun. Oh my gosh.
Does it have a Jolt Shot too?
I don't think it has Jolt Shot.
Okay. But just like you can go in and do almost every single arc verb with this thing, depending on your role. So better you do in the activity, the
This
more
sounds
perks
cool,
you can
man.
get on these things. So double perks in each column. And then we have some returning weapons for Guardian games as well.
Yeah, Hullabaloo is coming back. That is the heavy
Hullabaloo.
grenade launcher that shoots the 3 waves. It is getting the new Rolling Storm perk, which is obviously really fun on a weapon that can clear ads so quickly.
Yeah.
And I personally like pairing that with Demolitionist, so you have a easier access to something that lets you discharge Bolt Charge as well.
Yeah.
And then it's got Envious and Cascade Point as well, which is a fun roll from last year.
Very nice. Yeah, my dad's a big Hullabaloo fan. He's got one with chain reaction that is devious against all that's
His
saying against us, so I
dad?
cannot
That's
wait
so
to see this one in the wild.
sweet.
We also have Taraxipos, the Strand Scout Rifle returning. It's getting the new perks Lone Wolf and Tear. Lone Wolf explosive rounds is devious in the Crucible.
Yeah.
I was just having so much fun too. How can you do this to me? No, I'm going to get one of my own. Who am I kidding? Yeah.
And then, of course, we have the title coming back. And it will still have Repulsor Brace destabilizing rounds, but it's also getting Recycled Energy and Demoralize and To the Pain.
Demoralize is like my favorite perk name from this episode because it's legitimately like, oh, you're all weakened now, baby. Let's go to work. But title is going to be great. I've been trying to get that for the last couple of years with a good perk roll, and now there's a bunch of really cool stuff to get on it.
Yeah. So there's obviously a decent amount of stuff to go ahead and be chasing down in game between the new armor, the new trace rifle, and obviously the refreshed rolls. But Dylan, as well, I'd love to put you on the spot. There's going to be stuff out of game available to Guardians as well.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what's available there.
Yeah,
does that
every year
mean?
we have a Bungie rewards component. So big shout out to Natalie, our rewards team. But we have a really cool jersey that we're going to be offering this year. So go in, do your triumphs, earn your title, and then you can earn this
cool.
really sweet jersey.
Yeah.
So there are going to be a couple other things that you can go in and get as well. But this
That's
is
so
I think
cool
you and
they
I were
have
talking
random-
about. Hey, you go to a Sounders game and now you can have a
Bungie
Titan or
store
a Hunter
stuff.
show up and be like, hey, so. Warlocks are pretty nerdy, right?
Well, here at a Sounders game instead of reading a book.
Yeah, right.
That's my
We
Titan
also
impression.
have a
Oh, damn, that
sample
changeover.
here in the studio. This
That
is
was-
a
that
large
was smooth.
for folks that want to see it.
Huge,
Really
again,
cool.
shout out to Natalie. Getting one of these early, huge win. So huge thanks to our community.
2025 Guardian Games.
Yeah.
Looks really good on the back.
That's so cool.
Thank you for my fashion corner.
Hell
You know
yeah.
what? You've got more on the way, but we can also tease that later. But no, really cool to get to see one of those in person as well. All right, so now, as we've obviously had a chance to dive in, with a little bit of what is to arrive in Act 2, we've got some Act 3 teases for you as well. And so
More
we'd like
Act
to take
3
an opportunity
teases.
here to welcome 2 new folks to the couch that we have magically brought in.
Yep,
we'll go
that
ahead
was
and
magic.
start with the fine individual to my left, who you may have met by way of some of our Bungie Vidocs in the past, or if you work here, she's brandishing a small bottle of teeth. Yes, actually teeth, at you during our Teams meetings. I'd like to introduce one and only Nix Kinney, a producer here at Bungie. Nix, how's it going?
Hey, Andy, it's going You owe me. No, happy to be here. Super surprised that you asked me to be live.
No, of course. Glad you could join us. For anyone that may not have met you by way of our Vidocs and is just meeting you for the first time, can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what it is you do here?
Yeah, I'm a producer here at Bungie, and I've produced a number of teams from activity design, free roam, lost sectors, strikes, to world art, palette, lighting, skies, VFX, and most recently
Next,
our
Kimmy.
sandbox weapons team with Morgan, who was just here, and my production darling, Rigger 9.
That's right. We will. That is a Charlie Brown-ish line for now because we're going to introduce that in just a moment, I promise. But of course, we're going to go ahead and make sure and introduce right next to her, Rodney Thompson, a senior design lead here at Bungie. Rodney, how's it going?
Doing great. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you so much. That's so nice. Anyone who may not have had a chance to meet you or doesn't get a chance to work with you here at Bungie,
I love
can you
that
tell
they
us
do
just a
this.
little
This
bit
is
about
cool.
who you are and what you do here?
Sure. I've been at Bungie for about 10 years. I'm a designer, and I'm the sandbox craft lead. And additionally, I've been the team lead for the Charlie Brown redacted team that Nix just mentioned.
Very excited. We've got some cool stuff to check out. Now, actually, Dylan, you and I were talking a little bit about this. There's going to be a new event arriving with Act 3.
Yeah, this event
Yeah.
is free to all players. It's going to offer something for lower skill for folks that maybe want to start getting into some endgame content, and then it's also
Okay.
going to offer some things of higher difficulty. I don't want to
Okay.
steal too much thunder.
Oh, no,
but
of course.
Yeah,
I mean,
let's tee it up.
Yeah, that allows us a chance to introduce it. Rodney, would you like to do the honors of introducing
Are we going to see
Right
it?
of the Nine. Yes.
Right of the Nine?
So Right of the Nine is our
Right of the Nine.
new event that we've been working on. Really excited about this. It is a limited time event that features our dungeons. 3 of our dungeons that are part of this event. That's going to be Prophecy, of course, because of the 9 associations, but also Spire of the Watcher and Ghost of the Deep.
Wait, are they going to talk
These
about
3
spoilers?
dungeons, you know, we've seen a lot of reaction, positive reaction to the contest modes for our new dungeons as they've come out.
Yep.
And we were thinking, you know, what would it be like if we were able to go back to our older dungeons and experience that kind of level of challenge and see how things play out in, you know, these older dungeons with some tweaks and some tuning.
I can
and
do
some
them on
additional
contest?
modifiers and things like that to really like bring the challenge up to kind of contest mode levels, right? So we're like, okay, we got this great, you know, set of dungeons. Let's really put the screws to our players and see what they can do in
Let's go!
dungeons.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, we were like, well, you know, a lot of these dungeons, you know, there's a lot of players out there that haven't gotten to
Dude.
experience them because they can be pretty intimidating. They are, you know, mechanically a little more intense. They don't do a lot of hand-holding in the activity. And, you know, they often require, or at least, you know, incentivize you to play with other players, right? So we were thinking, like, what if we could take this event as an opportunity to introduce these classic dungeons to, you know, a whole new audience by way of what we're calling Explorer mode. And so basically we've got new stuff at the top end in Ultimatum mode. We've got new stuff for players.
Wait,
or new
are they
opportunities for
basically
players
doing a
to
directed
learn
mode?
the dungeons in
Like
Explorer
COD?
mode. And then we have Eternity mode, which is sort of aimed at our middle-of-the-road experienced dungeoneers. So we've
Dude,
got
they're doing
something for
guide.
everybody.
It's
Excellent.
guided
Awesome. Well,
mode.
we've got stuff to actually show live here. Tell you what, why don't you guys tell us just a little bit about where we're at right now?
No.
Sure. So this is the social space for the event.
Oh, wait, it's a social space, that's
eagle-eyed
fine.
Veterans might notice that this is the third Spire social space.
Okay.
It was originally used for the Trials of the Nine PvP event.
Oh, PvP, that's
but
fine.
It's been a while. It's been since year 1 since you could go to this space. So we're bringing it back
Year
for
1.
the Right of the Nine event. You can see off in the distance there as our brave/reckless guardian runs off into the horizon. You can see, there we go.
It's a death button intrepid one at that, so.
You can see the Spire of the Watcher tower off in the distance. That's indicating that during the week that we have this set for, Spire is the featured dungeon. So there's going to be one of these 3 dungeons featured during each week of the event on a sort of rolling basis.
Okay, yeah. So here we're obviously this is a familiar face as well. What are some of the things we're going to be able to get up to here? Obviously, thank you, Gemini. We appreciate the introduction.
Yeah, Gemini is
the emissary
killing
is
it
our
right
vendor,
now.
and the emissary offers you quests, bounties, rewards, a wide variety of things to do during the event. Like I say, it's all dungeon focused, but we're going to be leading you into those dungeons and giving you rewards for beating them on the various difficulty levels.
And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, I believe I see some weaponry here in the background.
Yes.
What are we looking at here?
What is that?
So, for this event, we have taken 4 of the weapons from each of the featured dungeons and given them a big revamp. We've redone their perk pools, introduced perks that have come in over the season since the dungeon was released, and put those into these weapons and really given them a good juicing up as far as like the perks that are available. And what you're sort of seeing here is the ability to attune to these various weapons, just like you could during Into the Light with the light weapons, so that if there's a particular one of these that you really are
these
hunting
will
a
be
certain role, you can attune to
enhanceable.
it, get more drops of that weapon during the course of the event.
Very exciting. Okay, that's again we see some fans obviously in the house here. So we've got as you were mentioning, ultimatum mode. We can go ahead and talk a little bit about later. But as we noticed, Inspire the Watchers here, Nix, can you tell us a little bit about Explore mode and how you guys kind of built that and what that process was like?
I'm so curious. Is this
for
guided
Explore
mode?
Was truly so cute because it required us to find people in studio who had never played dungeons before.
Me.
That means we sourced folks from all corners, all levels, and made them equal in the name of a dungeon. So it was really great to see them go through our dungeons and having us tune it so that by the end of our playtest series, I think they just grew into folks who were really quite adept at dungeons.
Wow,
and
cool.
I want to say can go on to even solo them if they wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great starting point. I think we were talking a little bit before the show, but Explore mode obviously grants the opportunity, one, to just learn, to just go ahead and kick the proverbial tires in the dungeon, figure out how arc-trition works, which we can see here in just a second. But for folks like myself who do really enjoy running dungeons, and I've only soloed one dungeon, but if I wanted to go ahead and really get all of my strats ready for a solo, maybe a solo flawless run if I'm lucky enough, this seems like a great way to approach that.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, in the Explorer mode, you have some tool tips, so that'll give
cool,
you
man.
some idea of how
really
to
cool.
navigate these puzzles, and also some waypointing to help you get through some tricky areas that you may not be able to find on your own.
Yeah, there's a lot of minutia to always find in these, and it may not always be obvious which way to go. And so you guys, like we were talking about before the show, you actually built some new tech to help kind of establish those breadcrumb trails for the Guardians. All right, we're about to dive on in actually here as well, but very briefly as well as we go ahead.
Are they going to show it?
A brief touch on ultimatum mode as well. What are some of the key differences between?
Talk to me about this contest mode.
So while Explorer mode, of course, is aimed at people who have maybe not as familiar with the dungeons or never really given them a shot, Ultimatum mode is for players who are familiar with the dungeons and are used to a high level of play. So they're going to be our most challenging. They're going to be at sort of a power level equivalent of contest.
Is this a dungeon
mode.
chat? Should I not be
You're
looking?
Going to be, facing tougher enemies. And then we're also using some activity modifiers to sort of craft the experience and make it a little more challenging, but also just give you a little bit, require you to make a few decisions before you go into the dungeon or before you go into an encounter that you wouldn't otherwise necessarily be.
So it's not quite contest.
For example, we're using the not swap activity modifier, which basically means you need to keep one exotic equipped for the duration of an encounter. That's just sort of a way of saying, like, okay, we need you to really focus on thinking about this encounter and figuring out how you're going to tackle.
Oh, that's unfortunate. That really kneecaps the build
both
potential.
The Eternity mode and Ultimatum mode are scored on a per encounter basis. So the higher your score in that encounter, the better the loot drop is going to be. You'll get double perks and different columns and things like that. That's all based on deaths. So instead of being based on kills or number of damage phases or things like that, it's basically getting through the encounter with fewer deaths gets you a higher score.
Wow, they're really incentivizing the flawlesses.
Right. So what we're really challenging you to do here is we're challenging you to go into this harder mode and not just execute, but also execute in a way that gets you a higher score, gets you better rolls, and of course in the ultimatum mode, you'll be getting adept versions of the weapons.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
So when you say adept,
Yes.
I mean, are they just adept, or do they have any special treatment, you might say?
Ooh.
Well,
Special treatment?
They are in fact adept in name and in functionality, but also they have the new treatment. So all of our weapons have a new visual treatment to them that has 9 iconography on them. And
Cool,
let's
okay.
see here. Yeah, we got some.
Are they showing it?
There we go.
So this is a great example of a sort of baseline drop of New Pacific Epitaph that
Okay.
has the new visual treatment. You can see the 9 iconography on it.
That's
You
cool.
can also see like it's got the color
like it, I
palette,
like it.
at base for it. So all of our weapons that will drop during this event will have a new visual treatment. It'll also have the new event exclusive origin perk, which is Gravity Well. This will drop on all weapons that drop during the event, and is only available in Rite of the Nine. So it'll be exclusive to this event.
Very exciting.
And then I think Guardians out there, we've referred to them as holofoils in the past. So as you're going in, you're doing the harder difficulty. You're earning
Holofoils?
these adepts. They're going to have the animated holofoil, giving that galaxy background,
Yeah.
kind of showing I ascended the mountaintop. I actually went and earned this really dope loot,
Yeah.
and I did it in a way where I got my god rolls.
As
So
someone who's
these are
still brave,
shinies.
rather proudly wears his brave arsenal as much as he can. I cannot wait.
Right? Like,
to
these
go
are the
ahead and dive into
shinies
this. So
that-
actually, as well, now that we're in explore mode, checking it out,
I feel
Rodney,
like
can you
someone
tell us
mentioned
some of
there
the
was-
key differences, key changes
Oh, well,
you
let me
all
just
made
listen.
to make this a more accessible experience for new Guardians?
I'm
Sure.
gonna
So one of the
find
things
the
you'll
mute
note is
button.
that we're using the
Okay.
in-world tooltips to teach you some of the mechanics. So this is something we've seen used in the Nether and in other places in the game so far, and we're continuing to expand that out as a teaching mechanism. So
Interesting.
as you are playing through Ultimatum mode, you'll see these tooltips come up, and we have them all over the place anytime a new new mechanic gets introduced.
Got it.
And it basically is
I
a
think
way
he
to,
meant
in-world,
not
see,
Ultimatum.
like, okay, this is how this mechanic works. We're also using waypoints. Here's a great example of
Yeah, I think he meant Explorer there.
shows you, hey, here's this.
I'm just muting it in case I don't want anything spoiled for the dungeon because I haven't played them yet.
There are, not as obvious paths through the dungeon, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, like those tooltips and waypoints, we're using those in the encounters to teach you the mechanics. And we do that like the first time you see it, so that later in the dungeon, when you are encountering that mechanic again, you'll have already learned it, and you can take your time and read the tooltips,
Yeah.
execute the mechanic at your own pace. One of the things we've done is
It really is guided
remove
mode.
darkness phases, and we've reduced the revive timer down to 5 seconds in Explorer mode.
Very nice.
So that there is no
Less
real
consequence
penalty
for dying.
failure.
Yeah.
So if you're just trying to learn the mechanics and you go in and you want to look at the tooltips and follow the waypoints at your own pace, and maybe you get overwhelmed by enemies or whatever, that's okay, right? Like you can kind of take your time.
Yeah.
I think one of the things we've seen is that a challenge with a dungeon, in addition to the mechanics and the combat challenge, a lot of it is just you have to sort of learn at a fast pace, right? And so what we're trying to do here is make it so you can kind of learn at your own pace, so
Right,
that
okay.
once you're comfortable with these mechanics, then you can jump into either Eternity mode or whatever with other players and know the mechanics because you've not been sort of pressured to execute perfectly.
I think it's good that they're
In that first encounter, so
doing
you're
guided
connecting nodes in a circuit breaker.
while they're doing guided. Can I look yet or no? Is this still a dungeon? I feel like this is still a dungeon. They're doing guided while at the same time also doing something for the hardcore people. It's not just like the only thing is the guided mode. Do you know what I mean? Whereas in zombies right now, we have this issue where they release guided mode as if it's an update for experienced players to enjoy, but it's obviously not, right? So the fact that they're doing both at the same time is really cool. That's really, really cool.
So basically, we hear a lot of people say like, oh, I want to take my friends through the dungeon that have never been before. A lot of these traversal sections can be really challenging. So in this section of Spire of the Watcher,
Okay, I'm sorry if you're watching this right now and you're like, wow, this guy muting the stream is just like such a silly sausage. I'm sorry, I just don't want the spoiler. I'm just not risking it. I'm not risking it. Because we will be blind solving these on stream at some point. And so I don't wanna have any information in my brain, you know what I mean? Let's see if I can unmute yet.
Yeah.
As players are going through this, like we have a bunch of rewards, not just for Explore mode where you're getting the normal drops and all that, but overall through this event. So
Oh, yeah. Well, you get
Talking about rewards
5
now.
new emblems.
Emblem for you.
There it is. Yeah, collectors, get ready.
An
Can I
earnable
look?
weapon cosmetic.
Nope.
And a hoity-toity title, event exclusive title that you can get from doing some challenging challenges in Ultimatum mode.
Yeah, it's going to require a lot of participation, I think we were talking about before the show.
Cool.
Like, these are not ones you're going to be able to earn right away. It's going to take some time.
Yeah. It's gonna take some blood, some sweat, some tears.
Yeah.
Maybe an ambulance ride, everybody.
And some
In
teeth.
daily playthroughs, it's like, here are my weapons, but then you have the overarching goal of like emblems for the collectors or the title, so you can show off in the tower like, I'm the dungeon delver.
Yeah.
We don't have the name solidified just yet, but
It's not locked in.
It'll
it's not
come.
locked in.
All right, cool.
It'll be
Well, I'll
fun.
tell you what, speaking of things we do have locked in, so we've taken a little bit of a look of what's here at Act 3. Dylan, I'm going to go ahead and take this chance to
Can I
put you on
look?
the spot.
Okay.
Starting very soon, or if not recently, Moments of Triumph are back as
yeah.
well.
So I mean, we just walked through.
Moments of
Sorry, I
triumph.
just put that down. So
That was very authoritative, yeah.
yeah, we just walked through like, here's what's coming in Act 2, here's
Yeah.
what's coming in Act 3, and then here's what's coming with Ride of the Nine later in Act 3. Right now, if you're so inclined, Moments
Yeah.
of Triumph just started, like what, an hour ago, 2 hours ago?
Yeah.
Oh.
We have some cool rewards that you can earn as you're prepping up for the next acts, as you're getting ready for what's to come. Cool cosmetic ghost. There's going to be a sparrow that's going to be really fun to earn.
Nice. Actually, I think we can take a look at those really quickly
yeah.
as well. There we go. All right,
Oh, nice.
There we go. There.
Dude, the ghost is
So with Moments
cool.
of Triumph, every year we basically celebrate the previous year of content, ask players to go back in, check out your triumphs.
It's
get
like
some of
Optimus
these things
Prime's
done, do some
shoe
Grandmaster's raids,
is
et
the
cetera.
sparrow,
Yeah.
but
And
the
then
ghost is
You
cool.
can earn some free cosmetics in the game.
Very cool.
On top of that, we also have our yearly Bungie Rewards T-shirt.
Yeah.
So I think I own
go.
6 of these at this point, maybe 7, but this is the 2024. And
we go.
yes, I'm going to call
take a
this
look.
out for my friend Matt. 2024 because it's the previous year, not 2025.
Yeah.
T-shirt,
Okay.
which is really fun. We
Oh,
have a
this is
sample
a
here
that's
in
a
the
that's a
studio.
clean
Thank you
shirt,
again, Natalie.
dude. What can I say? That's a clean shirt.
Very
I like
excited.
it.
This, I believe, is a large as well. Let's make sure. Yeah, large. So basically my size. I'm 6'1".
Yep. There we go.
But yeah, you can get your customization on the sleeve of your
I like
gamer
it.
tag or your player name.
Oh, nice.
And then when you're walking around in the outside world, people can see you for the nerd you are.
Yeah.
Shout out to the individual who yelled "Dead Orbit Forever" when I was walking around in my Dead Orbit T-shirt the other day.
Very nice.
But yeah, very frequently it's like you see people in their raid jackets, you see people in their Moments of Triumph
Hell
T-shirt.
yeah.
And then when you purchase any Moments of Triumph related, the T-shirt, the pins, anything like that, there's also a special emblem. It's a gift with the purchase. So in game you get a little bit of swag too.
Cool.
That's really cool. I always love those shirts because it, like, you know, going to a PAX or something, it becomes this like hidden secret language where you're looking around and see people with their different Bungie Foundation shirts on or their different Moments of Triumph shirts
Yeah.
on, and you kind of give each other just a nod
Nice.
as you walk through those hallways.
Yeah.
You got your
it's
raid
like
jacket
you
on
have
all the
your
time?
in-game
Hell
Ghost
yeah.
Sparrow, but then when you're going through right, it's like I have my title. In
Have
real
you
life,
guys
it's,
bought
yeah,
anything from
I
the
got my
store?
title.
Yep.
I got it on my war vest. I got my T-shirt,
Earned it.
etc.
Yeah.
What have you got?
Excellent.
What are
All
you
right.
rocking?
Well, everyone, we have had a very big show today, and so that I think about leads us to the conclusion.
Okay.
Is what I would say if we didn't have just one more thing to share with you. So, obviously, we've touched a little bit on some of the stuff that's going to be arriving with Act 3, and we actually have a sneak preview also of a currently in development limited time PvP mode that will be joining Act 3 as well.
PvP?
I vote we go ahead and just throw it up here on screen. Let's take a look. Everyone, we'd love to introduce you to Heavy Metal. Heavy Metal is an opportunity for you to go ahead and take out a team of drug tanks against a team of Briggs, so you can test to see, you know, whether you're good behind the barrel of a gun or behind the barrel of a Brig. But this is one that just the playtests, pardon me, have just been absolutely
This is
insane to watch.
Since day
What?
one of Beyond Light, players saw
Dude,
the
in
Brig
my
come
feedback
through.
Yeah.
Like,
that I
when
tweeted
do
at
I get
DMG
one of
like
those?
Very
And
much.
10
this
days
is
ago, I was
the
like,
answer
I
from
want to be a
development.
mech.
But we had to make it a little competitive.
We can be a mech.
Guardians have had their Drake tanks since Destiny 2 launched.
Yeah.
They're really fun. Let's see when you get into matchmaking who can come out on top.
Yeah.
Dude.
This is one that we're very much looking forward to unleashing upon the community, but as you can tell, the Drake tanks and Briggs alike provide some pretty unique tactical opportunities that we're looking
Looks like
forward to
chaos.
getting into the Guardians' hands. But yeah, this one has just been an absolute hoot to see in development, honestly.
Yeah, and when it comes to like this is a PvP thing, we say competitive, but this is a goofy, like, this is fun. You're sitting down on a Saturday night, you're chilling with your cousins.
this
like,
looks
let's hop in
this
a tank
looks
and try
like
to do
goofy
some
fun for
360
sure.
no-scopes while we boost off of a ramp.
Yeah, we just finished a raid. Let's have a palate cleanser here and just have a good time.
I want to go for a movie of the week. Why don't I hop into Drake and try to get a triple kill? Like,
Yeah.
There weren't enough
Hell
sick
yeah.
flips in that raid. So
Yeah.
I gotta get out there on my Drake tank.
Just how many 360 no scopes can we get into this thing? We'll find out. Does the Drake tank have a scope? I don't think so. But yeah, that's something we'd be remiss if we didn't take a chance. Sorry.
W
They just did a
Bungie.
huge jump as well,
Bungie?
but we'd be remiss
Bungo.
if we didn't take a chance to show that off to all of you. So that, for real this time, concludes our show. So a huge thank, of course, to Nico, Quentin, Morgan,
That is wild.
to Nix and Rodney, and of course,
That is truly
the one and only
wild.
Mr. Dylan Gaffner there for joining us today. We really
thank you
appreciate you
for
guys taking the time to tell us a little bit more. Sorry?
Thank you for hosting.
I'm also here. But of course, more importantly than even me is our fire team in the back of house. We've got Peyton, Ashley, and of course, my compatriot in social media, Mitch, out there helping
Are
us go
episodes
and do the
always
heavy
this
lifting behind the
cool?
scenes.
Is there always
Thank
this
you a ton
much
for joining
cool
us, as
stuff?
always.
This seems sick, dude.
To the crew here in-house that puts on the show and has to deal with the likes of me, thank
This
you
is the
all so
first
much
one
for
I've
your time.
ever-
Really appreciate all of your
First
help.
one of these streams I've ever
And,
seen.
Of
This-
course,
this was great.
We'll also, pardon me, ask you all to go ahead and stick around for just a little bit longer, because before we conclude the show, we're going to go ahead and raid Bergen's Star. So do us a huge favor. Stick around for a little bit, join the raid, give them a follow, and
Wait, are they
tell them we
raiding-
said hello. We'd appreciate that.
Who is-
so
who
today we
is
covered a
Bergen
lot.
Star?
We went through the
Is that
activities
creator?
coming with Act 2, such as Court of Blades, the continuation of the Barrow Dyad quest line, some new weapons joining the sandbox. Took a bit of a look ahead at Act 3. There was
that's
a
the
lot
Destiny
for this one,
creator?
everyone. So of course,
That's
more than
so
anything,
cool!
we know you all are very busy. We appreciate being a part of your day, and thank you all so
What
much for taking
the-
the time to join us today. We do appreciate it. It's always a lot of fun to get to put these on, but they don't matter unless you show up. So thank you. So in the meantime, from all of us here to all of you out there, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we'll see you all Starside.
Bro, Bungie is elite. What? Why do people say this game's dead? That was so good. I'm so impressed. I am so impressed. I'm impressed on so many levels. Content-wise, there's stuff to do. Like, they literally were like, there's the event that you can do right now. There's the new sword event thing in a week's time, which looks sick. It looks really cool. A roguelike in Destiny. Awesome. And then to have been able to also see so much of the Act 3 stuff that's on the way, coming up. And the dungeon ultimatum mode. And there's a guided mode for new players to bring more people in. Which clearly people are worried about right now in Destiny. Like, oh, how are we going to get new players involved or whatever? There's a way to get some new players involved. Especially when I've just been making all this content celebrating the dungeon and playing the dungeon for the first time and loving it. And I think that's been a little bit of a sort of model that, like, you guys in the chat can probably imagine. Like, oh, if Milo's jumping into Destiny, he loves the dungeon this much. New players surely would have the same experience given the right sort of foundation, the right tools, right? So that sounds sick. And also then on top of that, the way they present it on the stream is fantastic. Bungie's communication there is top notch. Andy, I think his name was, great host. Background noise is too loud. Andy was cooking. All the guests cooked. Like, right at the 9, that was the name of it. I'm really impressed. Really, really impressed. Remember when COD used to do these? Honestly, the closest thing we've had in recent years has been what? Like the COD pod COD Next? Is that like the nearest equivalent to what we've got right now? Does that even count? Maybe it doesn't even count. It's like BO4 and IW, yeah. Like Scott Lowe, when he was at the studio doing interview stuff with Treyarch. Dude, like, yeah, they are so, the communications today were so good. They were so good. The fact that they spoke to the player base without babying the whole time. They weren't like, oh, we've got a thing for returning Zombies fans, the Pack-a-Punch. Like, the fact that that's a gaffe that Call of Duty have made, and it's not even out of line with what they normally do. Like, that wasn't just like a blip, that was just like par for the course, right? But here they're like, yeah, you can rock your triple tap, or you can get your Barodiad second catalyst so that you can run that with the reprised legendary adept pole arm animesis, and then you can combine that. And it's just like I'm sitting here going, I don't know what these words mean, but I want that. That's good. So it's so good. Like, I'm very impressed. What can I say? I'm really impressed. For my first ever, what do you call this? It's not a TWID, right? What even is the name of just act preview? Just dev stream, I guess. I don't think it's a vidoc, right? I don't think this would count as a vidoc. So just dev stream or developer insight. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I'm very impressed. As a new Destiny player, I think that was great. And it makes me excited to stream on Reset next week. And just going forward, I want to play more Destiny. They've got their claws in my brain. They've got them in there. What would you guys rate it out of 10, just real quick? Everybody give me a rough rating out of 10. Let's just gauge it. Because, like, for me, and sorry, I have to just add, they're raiding with 15,000 people. They're raiding a creator here. Like, Call of Duty could never. And I hate to, like, make this a comparison thing about Call of Duty the whole time.
Yo, there it is. Bungie. Thank you for the raid.
But this is sick. I make it a comparison because I want Call of Duty to learn.
W stream as always. I'm excited to try out the new dungeon thing. Thanks for all the follows, guys. I appreciate it.
Did he even know this was gonna happen?
Let's go. W's in the chat, baby. Guys, thank you for the hype train as well.
Bro, he's got to be blown away right now that there's so many people raiding.
Dave, thanks for the follow, bro.
Like, just so cool. The level of community support, the fact that they were shouting out creators during the stream, oh my god, that was peak. That was, what I like about this, the reason I'm making this a comparison to COD the whole time is because I know for a fact there is a world out there where Activision takes some of its vice-like grip off Treyarch's neck and they are allowed to do this sort of thing. I know that the devs would love to do this. I know it. I know that their comms team would love to do this. I know that the folks that are handling the social media, the folks that are both studio side and Activision side, I know. But they can't because there is overall structural reasons why they can't. And if those structural reasons were just relaxed a little bit, the model is here. The model is right here. I'm so impressed. I'm so impressed. So, like, looking at your ratings, you guys were saying, like on Pam, you said it was a solid 9. Jay Shen said 8. Random Stuff said 10 out of 10. Jake said 9. Raz said 9. Did Bife, like, someone say more Destiny? I certainly did, Bife. Bife, we've got to do a debrief at some point, by the way, on this. On this. We need to, well, maybe I need to, well, when should we do it? At some point Maybe we should play through Sundered and like I can explain the lore to you, Bife, because I'm sure you've got questions. I've got answers. But yeah, I really just want to give Bungie their flowers for how cool that was overall. W Bungo, I thought that was really fantastic, and the streams will be there's gonna be more streams coming. What can I say? Because it looks sick. It really does look sick. I think you should blind solve solo Spire of the Watcher. I'm gonna blind solve all the dungeons solo. That is the plan. Yeah, all the dungeons and the raids will be blind solves with teammates. That is the plan. Yeah, and it will all be streamed on Twitch. Yes, sir.